Hey guys, look what I have for you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Rigs. I have rigs for you. Yes, I do. Check it out. These are what these kids look like. Um, so, this is for the final project, and I'm giving you one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight different rigs that you can choose from. That's not to say you can't find a rig on your own and do something with it if you want to, but with the caveat that I am not going to help you with it because these guys, at least I know how they work. Anything you dig up from the web could be just, well, let's just say, not exceptionally well done. So that's sort of like, use at your own risk kind of thing. Now, first thing, you don't have to use all of these, okay? These are just all in one file, so it's easy for you to play around with them, discover what you like, what you think you can use, things like that. So you can just kind of play around with them a little bit, get used to them. If you screw it up, you can always just reopen the file or re-download the set, so you can kind of get them intact once again. So let me just show you who we got here. This is kind of the overview here, and this is a little robot rig, okay, as you can probably see. It actually is pretty nice. It has some facial controls. I'll show you that in a sec. And some body controls too, which are kind of nice. So these are kind of unlike Mikey in that they are far more complex. But because of that, they are also far more, capable of doing a variety of things. Now that is the good and bad. Mikey is one thing. These guys have a lot more controls that you're going to be have to get familiar with. Okay, so bear that in mind. That's why you have such a long time for this project too, because you are going to screw it up over and over and over and over again, and then you're going to slowly kind of figure out how some of this stuff works. Okay, this is a simple bot. It's called, I think. This is really nice too. It has a bunch of little controls for all the eyes and the eyebrows. Even the antennas move up and down. That's pretty cool. Let's see. This guy is called Moom. He's really pretty nice too. You can make his face do all sorts of things. Has some little tricks for his arms and legs as well. Pretty nice rig. This is either Blix or Blocks. They're like brother and brother. Here's the two of them together, I think. Yeah, there they are. So they kind of are a pair. It's almost like one is, just sort of like a comedy duo. The tall, skinny guy, the short, little chubby guy. And they are kind of nice in that they both work exactly the same way. So if you can figure out how one works, you can use the other one without having to relearn a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so for this project, you only really have to use one of these, or one rig. You can use Mikey too. I should say that right up front. He's not included in this since you already have a version of him, but you can use him too if you want. Okay, so that's an option to go with. Okay, getting back to these other guys, what else do I have here? Oh, the chicken and the egg. Okay, this guy is fully rigged. You can do all sorts of things with the tail. The mouth opens, jaw opens, fluffs up. You can inflate his little things here. You can put a different texture on him if you want. That's kind of the one that came with it. And then, of course, we have I think this is an Albertosaurus. I don't know. It looks like a T-Rex to me, but I'm not a dino guy, so there you go. Again, this has a bunch of different mouth controls. Tongue can move different ways. Has a real nice texture set on here, as you can kind of see. Turn this up a little bit. You'll get a better look at how that looks. Okay, really, really nice rig. Predictable, works well. Lots of students have used this in the past, so that's good to know. Okay, so that's kind of what the renders look like, the rendered versions. Oh, the No Man. I didn't show you the No Man. Yeah, he's kind of a robot-y looking thing. Where is he? Here he is. Okay. Again, pretty nicely articulated, has lots of controls, no facial expressions to speak of, but the body is nicely rigged, and that works well. Okay, so it kind of depends on what you guys want to do. So this whole idea of this project is to tell a story. Okay? And as you know, you can tell a story as simple as just something falling over, or tripping over something, or something rolling into a scene, or encountering something in a scene. All sorts of ways to do that, and how you want to do that is entirely up to you. Okay, so part of this is just learning how to use a rig and learning how to use it to be expressive, okay, to do something. So rather than giving you a preset thing like jump over a box like Mikey, for this you have to actually come up with your own idea, your own story, then figure out how to make the rig do what you want. Probably revise it a bunch of times when it doesn't work the way you think. And then maybe, interact with some other thing in the scene or some other rig or some other object that you bring in. Anything you want to do, any combo of things you want to do is okay. Okay. Likewise, if you find a model somewhere that you want to bring into your scene, that's fine too. This is not a modeling class, so if you find something from another source, that's okay with me. Okay, no big deal. And these are all done by different people. They're all, free things I've downloaded for free or found at different points in time that are mainly just meant for learning. So that's kind of what you guys are doing. So perfectly cool to work with these guys. Okay, so let me show you a little bit here. I'm going to try and do a little bit of animation on them later and post that so you can kind of see how each one of them can be used. But for instance, like this guy. Okay, so a lot of times when animator or riggers do this stuff, you kind of see, okay, you've got some controls here, right? So if it's like, him, I can pick up his foot, put it back down again, the usual stuff you kind of expect to do. But you also have some things in here like this little eyeball thing, okay? So these guys can be animated, okay? And in a number of these, you're going to find, if you look in under panels here on the different cameras, you're going to see like this guy, this simple bot right here. You'll see one called face cam. That's this guy, and he has his own face cam here. Okay, so this is the camera. I'm looking through a camera that has these various attributes in here. I'm going to switch this to something, maybe you can see it a bit better, like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to layouts, and do two panes side by side. Okay, so by doing that, I can change this now to my perspective view, okay, like this. So I can look at him while at the same time, here, I'll turn off my other thing here. So I'm going to put him up here so you can kind of see how this works, okay? So eyes. So I've got a controller over here that will actually, move his eyes up and down like so. I have a look controller here. Okay, he will go back and forth like this. So you literally are animating this stuff while it's actually doing this. Okay, a squash for his whole head here, like so. You can see his antennae here, move up and down. You can make them wiggle around. This trumpet is actually his mouth, okay? So you can make him trumpet, I guess, like so. Get this guy back where it was. Feel, I don't know what feel is. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's his smiley. He makes his trumpet smiley or frowny. Okay, you can kind of see it. Let me zoom in on this a bit more. I'm going to turn joints off here so you can see a little bit better. Those joints are kind of getting in the way of visualizing this. Okay, like so. And his eyes blink, which is cool. Like so. Okay. So you can, make him actually react, make something happen here. That's the trumpet. This is the mouth. Okay, so that's just a moving it up and down or left and right, which could be interesting too. Okay, so you can really kind of see that these things have a ton of flexibility in terms of making something more emotive. Okay, look at this. Okay, so lots of fun. Left and right brow expressions here. These are sliding left and right. Oh yeah, okay, so that kind of pivots around that point, like so. Okay, yeah, so you can kind of see how that can work. I can turn this back to some other view at any point. I'm going to put it on this robot bit. That's the little blue and white guy here, I think. Let's see. Oh yeah, he's got a camera right in here. Okay, all this stuff. So if I push this away in here, this is actually controls for this dude. Okay. So again, putting these all together is a little bit confusing. I apologize for that. But I think overall it's going to just be easier for you to just be able to kind of play around with this a little bit. Let's see what these things do. Okay. Mainly they look like they're just ways to select stuff over here. Okay. Like this. Here I'm going to turn off this show textures thing here. Some of these things will slow you down a bit, so I'm just going to turn this into a little bit different view here. See what this arm controller does. Arm and hand. Yeah, so that's the hand area. Okay, and then you have fingers here as well. You can kind of see these little guys look like, yeah, so it controls his fingers like this. And you'll also see sometimes you're going to need to look in the channel box for some of this stuff. Okay, and this is actually how you move this thing around like this. So you can move it away. I don't know if you can scale it up. Yeah, you can make it bigger and smaller. Okay, so it's almost like you're being introduced to a new set of tools here that you haven't used before. This little guy right down here is a slider for a different kind of set of controllers here. Okay, I think they do very similar things. They just are a different mechanism for looking at them, how they work. Okay, and you can also pick these things in the scene here. But when you're animating, sometimes you don't want to have to noodle around with stuff. You can just quickly see his eyebrows here going up and down. Okay, so one thing I do want to bring up right away is that little script you created for Mikey, the select all thing. You need to do the same thing for whatever rig you use here. Okay, so you need to locate all the controllers, okay, that you're going to be using, and you want to create a script, and that's why there's a handout for that script, how you do it. Remember, use the script editor. You just copy it and save it to the shelf. And then you're going to be using that every time you hit the key. Every time you want to key something, you want to key all those controllers, or things will get out of control, essentially, literally. You will be controlling or keying some things while other things are lagging behind. So you don't really want to do that. That will really, really confuse you up, confuse things and screw things up. You're going to have to backtrack a lot if you don't create that little script. Okay, and you can you create it until you get it right. You can test it out. Just do a quick, animate a few things over a few frames, test your script, and if it's missing something, you'll probably know it pretty quickly. Okay, so that's just sort of a little heads up here on what you're going to have to do to get these guys going. So even this guy, well, let me show you some. You're going to find in a lot of scripts, or not a lot of scripts, a lot of rigs. You're going to see things like this along like a tail or like the chicken. Okay, so you can animate this, right? Okay, and you can animate it going along like this. But notice that if you pick several of these, I'm just going to kind of hit the W key here and grab these guys. Actually, I can just drag over them like this. Okay, and then hit the E key like this. Okay, when you pick them in sequence like this, you're going to get this kind of a rotational thing going when you have all these guys and they're essentially a parent-child relationship. So when you pick them, you will be able then to, let's see how if I just pick one, it kind of bends it right at that point. But if you pick multiple ones, you will get them to move like this. Okay, and that'll work in more than one direction as well. Okay, you can even make them twist. I don't suggest it, but it's a possibility. Okay. Anyway, that's what I was looking for. Back and forth, like wagging a tail. Okay, so that's another thing to look out for. These kind of controllers up here are usually for lifting, rotating around a point like that. Okay, this guy has a bunch of controls in here. Okay, so if I just hit E, I can't really do anything with this. Okay, it doesn't seem like anything's going on. But what happens when you click on this is you get these guys up here. Okay, so I've got a tongue controls, mouth open. Okay, And what I'm going to do here is if you click on the name of something over here in the channel box, this is great when you're animating. If you click on the name, okay, like this, and then just move your mouse into the window like this and use your middle mouse button to drag left and right. Okay, up and down is very shaky, but left and right is good. You're essentially changing this value, okay? So it's way quicker than entering a number, hitting return, looking at it, undoing, going back and forth, that kind of thing. Okay, tongue controls here. You can do multiple things at once. Okay, curling his tongue, like that. Twist, back and forth. God knows. Okay, and turns tongue controls on and off here, I think. It's side to side. You can even make his jaw move a little bit like that. Okay. So if you don't see something when you click on it here, or it seems like it's all locked down. So if I click on this and hit like E or R or W, see these gray, the gnomon thing right here is all gray. Basically that means look elsewhere. Okay, something's going on there. They wouldn't put it in there otherwise. So look over in your channel box and see what you get there. Sometimes you will also find things in the attribute editor that will do similar things like sliders. It just kind of depends on the rigger, okay, who's done it and taken care of things. So it's, yeah, I don't see any in here, okay. But the channel box is typically where you go. Remember those, channel really stands for animation channels, okay. So you've got another thing, you've got similar things like for the chicken here. Here, let me get out of this panel view and go back to regular perspective mode, like that. Okay, here I'll go back to one view. Let's just lay out single pane. Okay, so you see for the chicken, all these things are kind of right on screen where the chicken lives. Okay, oh, and before I forget to mention it, some of these guys can be scaled, like the dinosaur and the chicken. This guy cannot be scaled. Moom is kind of shaky. Sometimes scale. This guy works okay. I think scale's okay. The gnomon can be scaled, okay. And usually what you'll find is if you pick the main controller for one of these guys, so like if I go to this guy and I look over here, this is the gnomon default pose, okay. And I don't know which. Got that. Drag that down here. And look at this. You can see I've got a scale here, 0.65. If I do 0.3, I can scale him down. Okay, it's usually not a good idea to try and do it with the scale manipulator. You need to do it in the channel box here. You'll usually have better luck. Okay, like that. And some of these guys have just specific, like the dino guy, rig global scale. Okay, and I've also got a rig resolution here. Okay, so there's a high res and a low res version of this guy. So you can animate in low res and switch it over to high res when you're ready to render, and you'll get a cleaner looking model. Okay, so lots and lots of things you're going to learn the hard way in this. Okay, okay, back to the chicken. I just wanted to talk about the scaling thing because some of these will scale and some will not. Okay, so same deal here, but these guys are right on screen. Okay, so you can open and close her mouth. Okay, you have an eye rotation thing here. Okay, an eye, something else. I don't know what this does. What's it say? Fat face. Oh, yeah, you can expand the face on this thing. Yeah, okay. Okay. Got those kind of puffy things going on. And then changing the angle here, you'll see different controllers. Okay. Like bending the tail here. Ooh, that's kind of weird. Not good. Flare. What do you do? I don't know. Some will just have to figure some of these out. Okay, and then you've got leg controls here too. This is a deform thing. Okay, I think this is on off switch. These are just to make the leg move up and down. Stomp your feet. Smash some little robot that's getting in your way. Who knows? Look, so many story ideas. Egg is actually a deforming egg, so you can deform it. Okay. Oh, and Moom. These are the Moom facial controls up here. Okay. And what I would suggest you guys do is play around with these, just kind of get a feel for them. And when you decide which ones you want to use or which one you want to use, you can just delete all the things in here that you don't want and then just leave it in the scene since it's already set up. Or you can export it and import it, okay, into another file. Kind of up to you. I tend to favor the deleting stuff from the scene because I know it's already in here and it works. When you export something, sometimes you're missing a piece or something doesn't come in quite the same way. So that might be another caveat for you, okay? Plus I've got some lights in here already. These little guys are pretty straightforward, a lot like Mikey, okay? Really just, hop and pop, kind of jumping up and down kind of stuff. The big arrow at the bottom. Turn this grid off so you can see. Okay, like so. I don't think Moom, oh, I know what Moom has. Moom has a camera in the front view, I think. I'm going to click over to my 4-panel view here. And I think the Moom facial controls, yeah, they show up kind of in a separate view here. Okay, so I'd probably just want to move the dinosaur out of the way here so I can see Moom's controls. Okay, if I zoom in on his face here, you can get an idea of what these do. He has eyes that blink too. He has some nice controls in his eyebrows. Okay, and these little guys right here lift those brows up and down like that, which is pretty cool. Got some great little mouth controls for being a really simple mouth. Looks really cool. And then this will make his mouth open and close like that. Okay, you can jam it all up or down. Okay. And these will move his little eyeball, the whole eye around like so. Okay. Hand controls and things like that, arms. This little guy, this inside ring, is what is going to control that. Okay. This is for the fingers, this little guy right here. And that's just a rotation value thing. Oh, maybe I turned it off. I'll take a look at that. He does have fingers. I know that. Oh, I think they're up in here. Yeah, okay. So for him, this is kind of like that other one I was showing you. You click on that little manipulator there, or that controller. Those are just curves. And then you can take a look at these, bend the palm up and down, like so. This is interesting too. When you have several of these guys, you can pick a bunch of them and use them to bend all those things at once, okay? Like so. Thumb up, thumb down, doo-doo-doo-doo. And if you hold control while you do this, those numbers will go much slower. So if you find on a certain rig that things are just jumping like crazy, use the control key to slow down the rate of adding these numbers up in here, okay? And besides that, this is a pretty nice. He's a nice little rig actually. Moom, I've had a bunch of students use him. He's pretty indestructible. He's got stretchy arms and legs as well, so you can pull him and the legs will actually stretch and the arms will stretch, which can be fun too. So you can do some real, kind of traditionally cartoony looking stuff. Okay. Let me go back to No Man here and show you that finger thing. I think his fingers are a good way to show you that idea here. Is it this guy that does it? Yeah, so this is actually the controller for his hand area, okay? And you can see the only thing I can really do with this is rotate it. Okay, so that rotates his whole hand, but clicking on that gives me access to all of his fingers. Okay, so for instance, index, middle, ring, and pinky. Drag a box over all those, middle mouse that, and look at this. You can grab them all at once. Okay. Let's see. Can I do it? I don't know. Can I flip myself off? Yes. I knew I could do it. Perfect. Okay. Sorry. Family show. Shouldn't have shown you guys that. Now you're all going to do that. I just know it. Okay. It'll be our little secret. And then you've also got a thumb spread, okay, index spread, middle spread, ring spread, pinky spread. So you can actually control them horizontally as well as moving them up and down. So he's a pretty cool rig. He's again another one that's pretty indestructible. Okay, you can make him do the Watusi and all sorts of nice little dance moves and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, pretty great. Hello, hello. Put your arms down. No, man. No, no, I will not. Okay, cool. Anyway, yeah, these guys are kind of fun to play around with. And like I said, you've got a bunch of time, so take time to mess with these a little bit and see. They will frustrate the hell out of you, but ultimately, if you can tell a nice story with them, be fun to have something to show the grandkids. I'm just blabbing, sorry. Yeah, okay. There you go. I will, again, I'll try and animate a few of these over the weekend and post another video about this so you can kind of see how you can go about, actually setting up some of this stuff. Okay, cool. Checking out for now. Final project. Here we go.